Let's do that one more time. Welcome. Ziggy No. It is Friday night, November 1st, 2024. I am doing basically a test here of my new internet service provider. And to see how internet connectivity is going, see if we can't get some live going, see how we have chat. It's basically a test night. I also thought I'd take some time to share kind of what's been going on, maybe answer some questions. I've had several questions asked to me in DMs and on some other posts, so I thought I'd kind of share that tonight. I won't be on here long. I don't plan to make this a long, live or chat or whatever. So get back in front of the camera, get a little comfortable, and talk about the hobby. I will say I've noticed a lot of hobby negativity from what I would say are not the normal audience. Oh, what's up, Orlando? Thanks for joining in, man. I appreciate it. And it's really, don't worry about the Wemby card. I still did well, but it's one of those things. It's like, that's why we play the game. I'll leave it at that. For those who don't talk about, check out the video on my Wemby card on the Card Hunter, on my $7,000 loss. Anyway, hobby negativity. Here's my thought on this. I'm not going to get like a camp of, hey, I'm hobby positivity or hobby negativity. I've always been the same. You follow my channel, I've been the same. The difference is right now, I'm involved in the hobby for profit at this point as a part owner. And boy, as I said before, when you're doing it for profit, for a business, your perspectives on things change. Like now I'm watching the sausage be made. I know stuff I can't talk about. I've signed NDAs, right? I mean, I got to be careful now. Which made me think the other day, I won't, somebody was complaining, these Fanatics guys can't say anything. They're to kiss butt. It's not good to kiss butt. I mean, it's business, man. It's just business. So here's my point to this. Hobby hasn't changed. What surprises me is why are all these negative content creators, all these content creators with their negative, football sucks for crashing, there's blood everywhere, the hobby's falling apart, breakers are ruining, there's too many gamblers. Guys, nothing has changed. Really, nothing has fundamentally changed in the hobby in the last, 20 years since we've had chase cards, autographs, and number cards. It's just now they put more in there for you to go chase, and there's more money behind it. So why are they so negative? Like, why weren't you being cautious and warning people back in 2020? Why weren't you telling people that football cards are a bad investment then? Why didn't you tell people that, hey, maybe the only football card you guys should invest in will be quarterbacks and don't waste money on wide receivers and running backs? Because you didn't do that. All these guys out there, these influencers, they kept, basically here's what I realized. They're learning. They're learning right in front of you. They didn't know the hobby when they got into it in their YouTube channels, and now they're learning. I'll give you a perfect example. I was watching Jeff and a Teapot talk the other day about the different brands and the products and which one what. And I thought to myself, listening to myself, I felt like it was kind of, I don't want to say the wrong word here. I almost want to say condescending. It wasn't condescending, but I almost felt like we were talking down to anybody watching. Like, this is the right one, and this is the wrong one, and this is why this is this. I was like, you seem so sure on that. But we also know that Jeff and Teapot didn't know that a few years ago. Like, remember, Jeff's the one who told you Select was the greatest investment in the world. I would have warned you then. Look What makes you think that Panini can't go make retail out of it? Like, why do you think a product is so special? If we should learn anything, right, it's that a product can easily be ruined by the manufacturer, right? Take downtowns. 2017, there might have only been a few. Well, now there's a lot. Are you going to be able to explain that to a collector in a few years that, hey, well, the 17-18s only have a few? Good luck with that one. It's like, to give you another example, the Prism Silvers. I'm just ranting here right now. The Prism Silver football cards, those were one per box in 2018. 2018, there were one per box. Like every hobby box had one silver Prism card in it. That's mind-blowing. The year before that, in 2017, every Prism rookie card was a silver. There were no base rookie cards in 2017. Isn't that mind-blowing? Just crazy, crazy. Unless you know that, unless you participate in the hobby, you're not going to understand that. So let me get back to what's going on. Sports card breaking. Let me tell you guys, I am absolutely loving what I'm doing in the sports card breaking world. I'm learning a lot. It's not, milk and honey. It's not Valhalla. What it is, though, it's fun. I'm learning a lot. I'm enjoying a lot. I see stuff that I didn't know about. I learn things. I get to see the release calendars. I get to see product marketing plans. I don't know. I really digging kind of the inside of this hobby side. What I can tell you too, what I think drives me crazy, one thing I'd really push for if I could make a change in the hobby, we need more pricing data around breaking. There's lots of comps out there on a single and a slab, but we need comps on what breaks are actually selling for. And I really mean this, what they're actually selling for, not what they're listed for. One thing I've noticed myself, we price breaks, and here's a little insight too. How do we price breaks? You price breaks on the market. You really do. You look at, as a breaker myself, I'm not the first to break a product. We normally do it on release day, but we're normally breaking on West Coast time. So we're normally breaking hours behind others. So I can watch others break before then. Often some breakers even break a day before. So normally there's 24 hours of data for me to look at. And I can see the prices of what they're listing and selling their breaks for. And I can tell you too, you will watch prices adjust. If someone has a team priced too high, the team will sit there and you'll know that's obviously too high. I'm not going to price that high. If a team goes quickly and maybe see 5 cases priced and all the Pittsburgh Pirates are sold at 99, well, clearly that was a pretty good price, right? So pricing data to me is very interesting because it's live, it's community driven. I don't think there's any authoritative price at all. And it's shocking to me how that happens. I'm wondering, like I'll put it this way. I understand how you could look at the checklist and break down value of a team. But because these price lists come out right now before the checklists are often out, I know they can't be perfectly accurate. And they adjust. Again, price lists of teams adjust when checklists come out. When your checklist comes out and you find out, oh, this autograph's not there, well, that team's going to go down or up. Oh, you find out a team has an autograph, a team price will go up. And that to me I find very, very fascinating. And I'll say this too, that's what drives this market, guys. Everyone's like, oh, the breakers are ruining the price of the wax. It's not the breakers. Actually, the market is driven by market price and really the singles market. I mean, I can't stress this enough. If people stop buying, like what drives the box of Prism up is that if you look at the comps, and what they normally do is you look at the comps of the previous year, and you see what rookies are going for, and you go, wow, he's going for that much. How much do you think this guy's going to be worth this year? And they extrapolate that into the expected cost or value of the team. Now, it doesn't always hold up. I understand that. But that is what's driving the wax prices, is the prices of singles. Singles drive the break prices, which break up the team. I still also say this too, and I'm not going to go into it on this video, but the best way, the cheapest way, and the most efficient way to get into new product is through breaking. And again, I'll say this as well. The voices you hear in hobby are just really, farts in a crowded room. You don't know where they came from. In the big picture of the hobby, breaking is huge in pulling new people in. Absolutely pulls new people in. What it needs to do a better job of is helping them get to liquidity faster. And I think that's going to happen in the next year. I think by 2025, I expect some groundbreaking changes in how sports cards go from are consumed, how they're opened, processed, and processed could be graded, and then sold, and then resold, and then resold. That's going to speed up a lot in 2025. So all the naysayers, all the people who hate this, all I'd say is that I think we need to look at, if you're a participant in the hobby, look at how you can make it better. Don't just complain. If you're going to complain, give an option on how we can improve it. All right, does it make sense? If you're watching this video and you're paying attention, I would say when it comes to wax prices and it comes to brake prices and prices in general, what we need is price transparency on the sole prices of brakes. That will give you more insight in what prices and what people are paying in the market. I could go on a separate video and talk about why people pay more for a product with one breaker over the other. This is another, I think, very, very interesting thing I've learned as well, is that selling a product, like if I'm going to buy a box of wax, I will buy a box of wax based on price. I'll go to Blowout, check their price. I might go to Steel City. I might talk to my local card store. I'm probably going to buy the box of wax based on the price. Is that fair? I'm probably not going to base it on, well, my local card store only gets heat. I'm going to go buy their boxes. Their boxes are loaded. I don't typically do that. Some people might. I'm not going to say they don't, but I'm typically buying on price. Braking is not the same. Braking, you could go out to a braking market like Whatnot or Fanatics Live or Loop or whatever, and you could see different prices. And people will pay a premium to be with a specific breaker. And what I've realized, here's a little secret, guys. It's not the breaker. Not in my opinion. It's the velocity of the brakes. Okay? What I mean by that is that, like Queens of Cards, our breakers are awesome. But if you have a choice, you have $250 that night, and you have a choice between spending it where my breakers are, and you can entertain yourself and talk and interact with them, and that break might fill that night, right? Because we only fill what people buy. We don't force fill our brakes. Or you can go to another breaker who's got so much velocity and volume that his brakes are going to fill. He's going to do 5 cases that night. So your $250, you know you're not going to get it in the team you want. You might get it on bad money. You might chase the wrong thing, but you're going to be able to participate. And that is a key advantage that some breakers have. Again, it's not, in my opinion, the breaker, it's the velocity of the brakes. Just a theory. Anyway, just a thought I have. Coming back though, market-driven price, I'd love to see more price transparency. For example, I think when you buy into a brake, kind of like when you buy a burger and you see how many calories in it, you should buy into a brake and it should say suggested retail price of the brake, of the entire brake, is X dollars. And I'm going to say suggested retail price. I'm not going to go with wholesale prices or retail prices or whatever, but what I mean by that, if a hobby box is $99 and there's 12 hobby boxes in a case, that means the retail price of the case is $1,200, right? Follow me? So it should say brake retail price $1,200, and then it should have your prices of what you can get in there. Now you can either add it up and figure out how much margin is in the brake, or maybe the breaker will provide that. Hey, our brake is priced at $1,500. That's 25% above suggested retail price, and you can see that truth in advertising. Just put it out there. You know what it is. You're paying a premium. Why were you paying the premium? Well, again, you're getting access to the product. It's getting shipped to you, sorted to you. There's a lot of time goes in that. That's fair. I mean, I know when I'm buying into a brake, I'm paying extra for it. I'm not getting it at the cheapest price, but I'm getting the entertainment. I'm getting the team or the option of teams that I want, right? So again, I think braking transparency is key. Very, very key. Will it happen? Probably not. There's no reason for it to happen right now. The market's still growing too much. There's too much. I can't explain it. I hope it happens. And I would say that's something I think we should work towards in the hobby ourselves, right? To make, like I like Brake Comp is doing. I think Brake Comp would be great if they could get access to Fanatics Live and Whatnot, their data, that they could show us the sale price of brakes. Because like I said, you can list a brake at one price, but I know they don't always sell at that price. Sometimes they go up, they go down, they get discounted. That'd be key to me. Anyway, what else can I share? Any questions? Feel free to ask. I've got a couple other questions that are written down to me from other people about braking. Here's another one. I would say there are a lot of good community in braking. I feel like braking gets a lot like poker. Where you go to poker, you're playing at a poker night with a bunch of friends, right? You're there at poker night, and there's always one guy at the end of the night that wins. You know what I'm saying? You come there, your nickel, dime, quarter, whatever you might be playing, $1, $10, whatever it is. You're normally there to hang out at Joe's house. You're going to talk about the neighborhood smack. You're going to drink a couple beers, maybe watch the game, talk about who's doing what, and you're going to play your $100, your $5, whatever you brought for that night. Very similar, in my opinion, to the braking community. You get into a braking channel or braking group, There's guys that are there. They have a budget they can spend. They're talking to a bunch of other guys and they'll put their money on the table. At the end of the case, they're all cheering for each other. Like they'll even in a poker game, you'll cheer for each other. You're joking with each other. But for the most part, you recognize at the end of the night, one of you is going to walk home with more money than most of you. Fair, right? Just like in a break, one of you is probably going to hit that big card, that chase card, or two people, and the rest of you are going to walk home with a few cards and some memories about the night. I cannot stress to you how similar that is. Sports card breaking and the poker card industry. And I'll go to the next one, right? The modern hobby is gambling. So I will say, and I'm going to kind of wrap this up because I'm almost coming up with 20 minutes. I've got 5 people in the chat, but no questions. If you got questions, let me know. But here's where I'm going with this. I do see in the future that breaking will be just as popular. Well, I don't want to say just as popular. That's pretty bold. Similarly, see the growth or popularity that it saw in World Series of Poker or in bass fishing. When your grandma will know about sports card breaking. I think that we're going to get there one day. Possibly in the next 5 to 10 years. I think what needs to happen is we need some more effort, maybe some consolidation in the breaking world, and I think that's going to come to be with Fanatics, because Fanatics, once they have control of everything, they're going to get to focus their power on which breakers get access to their product first, right? And I can't imagine you're going to have thousands of hands in that pot. I have a feeling it's going to be hundreds or 100 or 50, right? So once that happens, and you've kind of, it's kind of like, I'll think like this. If every city in the United States went out and created a baseball team, you can't get a major league team going, right? But after a while, those cities started to consolidate, and you had major metropolitan areas who had good baseball teams. You can create a major league baseball system. I think the same consolidation is going to happen in sports card breaking. You're going to see that consolidate down to some major breakers who have major plays, and then you're going to see it become competitive in the sense of sports card breaking tournaments. Fanatics purchase PSA? No, I do not think so. And I do not think so. That's all I can say. See, this is an area where it's not that I know something because I don't know something, but I do know something that I don't know. That makes sense. I can't really tell you. No, I don't think Fanatics cares about PSA. I do think Fanatics is a bigger picture. They're still so small. Like, if I think about what Fanatics Live platform is compared to Whatnot, it's not even there yet, man. I mean, Whatnot is so much more mature. It has so many more different collectible items on there. Fanatics Live can get there. What Fanatics Live needs to do next, and they're working on it, in my opinion, is they've got to get that connection from a breaker to Fanatics Collect. Right? There's already the pieces in there that I'm supposed to be able to ship a card directly from a break to Fanatics Collect, and that would be available for my customer in their vault. That is a game breaker. Online poker boom in the early 20s was a blast. I agree. And I'm telling you, I think we're going to see the same thing in sports cards, and we'll drive that, in my opinion. Thank you guys for commenting. I really appreciate this. I also assume that the streaming is going well. Today, breaking is too much about the breaker. There's too much attention on the breaker. And because there's so much attention, there is also envy and hate. Like, I'll give you an honest, I'll tell you honestly, I don't get excited by these breakers who, when they hit big cards, are taking pictures of them. You know, they're holding the big card up. Look what I did. Firehand Ziggy. You didn't do shit, dude. You opened the box, man. You opened the box and the card was there. And thank you. Now, please protect it, ship it, and get it to me, you know, in a nice way so we can enjoy it together. I think we need to put attention on the guy who's getting into the break. I would like for, when you create a breaker account, you should be like Ziggy now. And you should have, and again, you can keep your anonymous whatever, but maybe, you know, I'm a what's it called? Science technology expert, you know, love, blah, 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 blah. Put some profile, right? And a picture of me. So when I'm in the break and my card is hit, you pull up that. You pull up the profile of the buyer. See, I've always, let me say this too, by the way, I'm getting some great questions here. I've always, when I got into breaking back in 2015, I always thought the guy buying into the breaks was the breaker. I honestly did. I thought, I'm the breaker. I'm the guy buying into the breaks. I'm the breaker. I'm breaking. I'm the one causing the action. If you think about energy, right? The guy opening the box cannot do anything until I, the breaker, continue or complete the purchase. The transaction has to be done, right? So whether it's one buyer or 30 buyers have to come together. We, the breakers, we are the ones who break the product. You, the guy who opens it, you're just the opener. I don't understand why they call the guy who opens it the breaker? I don't know. Like, so if you do that, what do you call the guy who's in the brakes? And I know people go, the idiot or the fool or the novice or whatever. I'm telling you guys, if we put attention on the person getting into the brakes, and it's not just like in poker, you're not putting attention on the guy that lost and, went all in on 2-7 and made a really terrible call. That's an idiot or a fool, or, he's just enjoying the night, whatever the hell he wanted to do. He made a bad play. We're not putting the mic on him. We're looking at the guy at the table who won. Who's the guy that hit the Wemby? Who's the guy that hit the big, LeBron James? Who's the guy that hit the big CJ Stroud or the Tom Brady? Who are those guys at the table? Pulled up their profile. That's what you should do, man. I would love to do that. I really would. Put attention on the people getting into it. And then the next step is get those people involved in breaker tournaments. I've talked about this as well. But imagine, just like bass fishing, where you can go out and you can compete in bass fishing. You're fishing bride, you get your boat, and you go out in a pond, you're competing against other guys, and whoever catches the first, most, worst, whatever it is, whatever bounties there are in that pool to go after during that time period, do the same thing in sports card breaking, right? Again, go back to the little profile of Ziggy No, right? Who was last week, he was at, Queens of Cards breaks, and he hit that big card in the break there. But let's go over, he's in the breaker tournament this week. Who's he competing against? He's competing against blank, blank, and blank. They're going after this product. The breaking tournament lasts 48 hours. They'll be excited to see what he does. You get competition, qualifiers. I can go on. Online poker boom, yeah. Do you think more people are start getting into the math of it? Freaking men. I'm gonna leave that comment up there for a moment. I love both these questions, by the way. So, DA, first of all, I think people are already into the math. That's what I get in the breaks for, is the math. Now, I will say, back years ago, you normally get a checklist out first, and there used to be some great data out there that would tell you how many hits were in a checklist, not just who the players were, but how many specific hits, how many 99 patches are there for the Chiefs, based on how many players they have in there. So you get the hits of that. And once you have that mathematical information, absolutely. In fact, there was a guy who was doing this on YouTube, and I made some videos about him. He was running a simulator, and all he was doing, and I'll tell you this too, guys, think about this. This is already out there with AI, right? In fact, I should think about this right now. I should take an AI, not just take an AI, but just talk to someone about AI, because you can run AI against a checklist and against a product set to see what the statistical likelihood is of hitting certain cards, right? If you buy into, you're chasing Wemby, here's the likelihood of you're going to hit Wemby cards and say Prism. Here's what's even better about that AI model, guys. Imagine if the AI model can go out and search the internet and can tell you what hits have already been pulled, and then can tell you the statistical advantages or disadvantages you have for chasing certain teams. So maybe he comes back and says, look, don't go chasing the Spurs anymore. There's too many Wemby cards out there. They've been pulled. But go after Brandon Miller and the Hornets. They're great value. They're here the breaks. That is where I'm telling you we're going to be going. And again, it goes back to it. When you can make breaking mathematical, can get the fear and the fraud and the uncertainty out of it, where you don't have people scanning, or the uncertainty of loaded boxes, where there's more legitimacy around it. It really rockets off. Like when I talk about sponsorships and putting the focus on the individual, that will get us to the first step. The next step is when you really make this a sport. Yes, I said it, a sport. Breaking as a sport. So next question, regulation. Will there be any regulation? Yes, in my opinion, there absolutely will be. And here's where it's going to happen. A couple things are going to happen. Either number one, we, the community, start to self-regulate. I would highly recommend that. Most industries are smart enough to do this, right? They start recognizing that others are looking at them, and they do some self-regulation so that when regulation comes, they're in a better position to manage the regulation. I'll give you a simple example. I believe breakers should get together and should have a standard, a conduct when it comes to breaking itself. What requires, the on camera, the use of the cards, where cards are, sliding card, all this stuff. And I'll give you an example. The dip guy who took the cards off camera and swapped the pack. I didn't like that because in my opinion, you can look through the wax pack and see good cards on the back and swap that with another pack, right? That's why I thought that was shady. Right? We know that wax packs can be seen through. So if you have a wax pack of 1969 and I see that in the back of it's got Tom Seaver, I'm probably going to slide that off and put a new one in. Now, I'm just giving you an example. But if you were caught doing that, I would give you a penalty. Right, there should be a penalty. We should have a, hey, he's posted on the penalty. This breaker should not be breaking for 6 months. Something like that. Some type of self-regulation, some type of rule, some type of requirements, some type of breaking school if you want to. Heck, this should be grading school. But I don't know, if you did something, best practices, customer support, how you handle customers, Also, if you do breaking tournaments, you can have some rules in the breaking tournaments, and that itself would help create some regulation, right? So I go back to my breaking tournament idea. You create a breaking tournament, you're going to need referees to make sure there's fair play, right? That certain cases aren't like, I don't know, that cases aren't getting scanned before or something like that. But you have those referees oversight in there. That would be another layer of self-regulation. The other thing that I'll say that will drive this is that eventually, if Fanatics does plan to go public, right, they know they're carrying into an IPO an asset that's bringing revenue that's going to ask a lot of questions. Investors, analysts would ask questions about this. So it'd be in their best interest to either self-regulate it or to move it into a regulated area underneath the casino business. So I do think at some point they're going to look into what it would also accelerate this. I think right now that the political markets aren't looking at this, but if enough moms and dads got mad because their dumbass kids are buying into breaks they should be buying into, that could, accelerate state regulation. State regulation. Remember when you could buy online poker software, show your yes. That's what I'm saying, man. I'm not alone, and other people agree with me that this is a very, very early, immature market when it comes to sports card breaking. And again, what I would say too is that right now, what bothers me is the negativity about it is mainly from people who don't even participate in it, right? I'll tell you, I'm going to be talking to a few people in the next few weeks, reaching out to do some collaborations to discuss sports card breaking. Is it good or bad? How do we make it better? What's wrong? What's good? What's bad? Could we get rid of it? Could we not get rid of it? So look for those videos be coming out shortly. You're out of your mind, dude. Will never be regular. Never. I don't know about that. See, the reason, and I'll say this too, Big L, I'm not upset if it doesn't get regulated. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not begging for regulation. And you're right in the sense that it would be extremely difficult to regulate a guy in his kitchen who's breaking cards. It's going to be very difficult to regulate that. But if you're a large business doing a certain volume at a certain point, I do think regulation could come in. And I do think, again, let's be honest, this is a form of gambling and getting kids involved in it. I don't know. Like maybe it takes 5 to 10 years before you see the negative impacts of gambling, but Europe's already seen that. And I don't want to bring like politics in this, but we're dangerous here with the gambling laws in the United States. I'm old enough to remember when like gambling was like you'd go to jail for gambling back when I was a kid. I mean, like not as a kid you go to jail, but people went to jail for gambling. Like you were a bookie, it was like a crime, it was bad. Now gambling's freaking everywhere. And again, I might be wrong. I think maybe self-regulation first. But man, the way these breaks are happening, they're screaming, begging for somebody to regulate them. Any breakers you recommend are trustworthy from your experience? So HG, I'm a breaker myself, okay? So I could obviously recommend myself. But I'll be honest, the reality is I can give you I can't think of a breaker I don't trust to get into a break, honestly. I mean that. There are a lot of breakers, I don't like their business, and I don't like their business practice, but I've been in their breaks, because I get in everybody's breaks to try it, to see it. And what I like about breaking is that I'm really not fearful of a breaker screwing me, right? I'm more fearful of the card being lost in transit. But I'm not really worried about, like, when you see the story about the guy get through this channel and dips, I'm not buying into breaks of people like that. If I'm buying into a break on Facebook, it's a Facebook group that I know the person, they're vetted, they've been vouched for, so I'm not just doing anybody. And the other breaks I'm doing are on Fanatics Live. So when it comes to good breakers, there's a lot of trustworthy ones. Would I recommend? Let me give you some ones I'd recommend. I would totally recommend Sports Card Nonsense. They're very, very popular. They got a user group, the user community. They do breaks. They're too well known to make stupid mistakes. Great group of breakers. Mama Breaks is another one. She's well known, great reputation. I'll even say Slab Stocks, who people criticize Slab Stocks and Aaron. I think Aaron's great. Has done a phenomenal job building up his sports card business. Great breaker. Card Lines is another one. I've never been in their breaks, but I really like Card Lines and what they're doing. Again, I can't, and here's another thing to it. I'll say, guys, you're going to notice a lot of people, if you're in the hobby long enough, breaking is a very natural business to get into. The reason for that is that breaking is almost natural. It really is. Like I was watching, I think it was Dave somebody did a channel where he has a little Discord community and they will buy a box together and everybody shares it. They put some money in and they buy it at cost plus a little for shipping. And then these random teams each other. That is ultimately what breaking is. So there's just so many good opportunities for breaking. I really appreciate the interaction, guys. You definitely appreciate that, Da. Really appreciate your engagement, man. I can't argue it's not gambling as much as I can argue this. Again, it is. It really is gambling. Like I'll say too, I'm speaking from personal experience. As a father of kids, my kids got into sports cards with me. None of them are still actively involved; they're kind of passively, but they all recognize it as gambling. I mean, they even tell me, "Dad, you're just gambling." Like my one son said to me, "Like, who doesn't think it's gambling?" My 15-year-old son, he'll be 15 in December. Actually, I was talking about it, and he goes, "Does somebody really think sports cards are not gambling?" I'm like, "Well, there's a debate about that. You know, people do think it's a collectability. It's good for kids." He goes, "Dad, it's totally gambling." I'm like, "Roman, I don't disagree with you, but it's just so funny how, from his perspective, he's like, oh, it's all about the money. I mean, come on." He's like, "Do you see me collecting cards, Dad? I sold all my good cards. I found out they were worth money." I'm like, "You're right." Getting more into math breaks. Oh, I just lost that one. Getting more into math breaks. Level up. Night appeal. You know, it's funny. So here's what I've thought about that. I think I would love for people who've been in breaks for long periods of time to talk more about it. They don't seem willing to do it. I don't know why. They don't want more competition. I think that's the number one reason. I won't lie to you. Because what you'll find out, there's really, when you look at breaking, there's only so many cases out there, and only so many good teams. There's only so many winning hands. Like, if think of this, every break is a table game of a poker room, and every table is going to have likely one winner, maybe two, maybe zero, and those tables are very competitive to get sat at. Do you buy repacks? You know, I do not. I do not. I'm very, very against repacks. I don't like repacks. I will say it's something my team has talked about. I'm a minority owner in my sports card breaking team. We will likely see. I can't even say it. I will likely see repacks in the future. I'm against them, but I've also come to understand their position and importance and their role in the hobby. Again, I do not like them. It's like I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like repacks. I say I am. I do not like them. Do not like them. I do not like them. I do not like them. So probably get clipped later on and someone be saying, "Look, Ziggy doesn't like repacks." I just don't. I don't know. They are what they are. They're not going away, and they never went away. Right? They've always been here. Hey, what's up, U.S. Sports Cards? Man, it's great to hear you. Yeah, I just got new internet put in, so I thought I'd try this live out and see how it worked. And if this does work, you might see me doing more lives. So we'll say I'm going 30 minutes here, longer than I thought I'd go. I'll just give you a last few minutes, kind of what's coming up in November. Our breaking team is doing very, very well in Las Vegas. We're looking to launch our second location, and I'm looking to expand our businesses on the East Coast. I'm actually looking to hire and get more breaking going on the East Coast and build our community up. And what I mean by our community is we need more kind of grassroots, Facebook-like community growth. So I'm doing a lot of cool stuff in November, December around breaking. I will be breaking myself. That's not my long-term goal. Like, I do not want to be in front of the camera, open up cards in front of people. I like the business of breaking. I love sports cards in general, working on some other stuff, but that's what's coming up for me. In the future, you'll see more of that. And I'll tell you too, as soon as I get this going on Facebook, I think Facebook's a more friendly community. I'll definitely be inviting more people to participate in the breaks. I'll probably do some breaks on here as well. I don't see why I don't do that. Double stream on the YouTube channel at the same time as we're breaking for everybody else. Well, guys, I really appreciate it. The likes, comments, subscribers, all that stuff. Even the haters. I appreciate you. Have a great, great night. Great weekend. Wherever you are, have fun, man. DA, thanks a lot for listening, man. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your support. I've noticed that you have been a big fan of that. I will say, I'm not ready to go in the lion's den there at Sports Card Radio and defend all breakers, but I will one day. I do think breaking's the future. Have a great day, guys.